Drake is not listed as a defendant in this federal class action lawsuit against the streaming titan, but it's just another thing on his plate. Drake may not be at the epicenter, but he finds himself in another legal predicament this week. On Sunday, November 2nd, Spotify was hit with a federal class action lawsuit, with members of the general public accusing them of turning a blind eye to Drizzy benefiting from billions of bot streams. The legal filing was sent to the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. One interesting angle amidst of all of this, though, goes back to those suing the streaming giant. West Coast rapper RBX was one those identified amongst the crowd, and he just so happens to be a cousin to Snoop Dogg and Daz Dillinger. He was a signee of Death Row Records from 1992 to 1995. Moreover, he landed on a handful of big releases on the imprint back then. Those included Dr. Dre's The Chronic and Snoop's Doggystyle. RBX then went on to join Dre's then newly founded Aftermath from 96 to 2000. While RBX most likely doesn't have any allegiance to Drake, it is interesting to see this given Snoop's respect for the boy. But it's also worth clarifying that the one dance hitmaker isn't a defendant in this suit. But as for the contents of the filing, those suing Spotify allege that Drake's catalog has been gaining a plethora of fake streams from January 2022 through September 2025. Drake's stake lawsuit. This federal case is trying to point out that Spotify has been openly ignorant to this alleged truth. This mass-scale fraudulent streaming causes massive financial harm to legitimate artists, songwriters, producers, and other rights holders whose proportional share is decreased as a result of fraudulent stream inflation on Spotify's platform, it reads per NBC News. A Spotify spokesperson recently released a statement about how they don't have anything to do with illegal streaming practices. In fact, the rep also says they have been doing what they can to combat this obstacle. We cannot comment on pending litigation. However, Spotify in no way benefits from the industry-wide challenge of artificial streaming. It begins. We heavily invest in always improving, best-in-class systems to combat it and safeguard artist payouts with strong protections like removing fake streams, withholding royalties, and charging penalties. Our systems are working. In a case from last year, one bad actor was indicted for stealing $10 million from streaming services, only $60,000 of which came from Spotify, proving how effective we are at limiting the impact of artificial streaming on our platform. For Drake, though, this just another issue on his plate right now. Last week, him, Adin Ross, and online casino giant Stake were hit with 2 class action lawsuits. Folks in Missouri and New Mexico are accusing the trio of promoting illegal and predatory gambling. Missouri's filing reads, Drake's role as Stake's unofficial mascot is quietly corrosive. He's glamorizing the platform to millions of impressionable fans, many of whom treat his wild betting habits like gospel. Adin Ross recently addressed the claims, labeling them all bullsh*t.